Yo, I could easily manage San Francisco's government. It would be a fucking problem. I know what the issue is with San Francisco's government. You have bureaucrats that are pieces of shit. They're just fucking stupid, corrupt people. So, this is what you do. The federal government steps in and arrests these pieces of shit, trash, asshole human beings who have mismanaged San Francisco's government, Seattle's government, and LA's government. These progressive liberals that run these fucking cities are criminals, and they're part of a cabal. This is what they do. They carry out stall tactics. They engage in stall tactics. They fuck around. They do this stupid shit with the ACLU. The ACLU is a major fucking problem. The American Civil Liberties Union is a piece of shit organization. I said so. My name is Sir Grove. Fuck the ACLU. Hey, ACLU, if you're listening to me, I'm Sir Grove. Fuck you. Fuck your whole organization. And fuck everything you stand for. The ACLU, in my opinion, is a communist outfit. And what it's designed to do, in my opinion, is it's designed to further the 45 stated goals of communism. If you go online and you Google 45 goals of communism, it's right there. It comes right up. The ACLU is a deception operation, in my opinion. And I'm going to stop saying my opinion. Fuck the ACLU. The ACLU is a piece of shit organization that does the following. It pretends like it is advocating on behalf of folks who have been wronged by the system. It pretends. On the other hand, it's trying to destroy the United States system of government. And I read an article today. The ACLU is fucked up, man. It needs to go. I honestly think that it should be abolished. It should be legally dismantled and destroyed. I'm saying I believe that it should be legally destroyed by the American government. The American government should disband ACLU and just dismantle it because it really, truly is a piece of shit organization. I am all for the legal destruction of ACLU. I know some people at ACLU are like, how dare you? You're a fucking asshole. And I say the same thing to the ACLU. How dare you exist? Fuck you. You need to be legally destroyed by the American U.S. federal government, in my opinion. I said in my motherfucking opinion. Now, I'll give you some examples, world. So I'm reading this article right here. San Francisco to force treatment for mentally ill drug addicts amid criticism plan violates civil rights. Now, that's a mouthful. It's by Travis Fredson, Fox News. It was published June 5. And again, San Francisco to force treatment for mentally ill drug addicts amid criticism plan violates civil God damn it. San Francisco to force treatment for mentally ill drug addicts amid criticism plan violates civil rights. I read this article today on Fox News, and I read another article before that, which I'm going to also provide you here. Quote, San Francisco homeless stats soar. City blames big business. Residents blame officials. By Barnini Chakraborty. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but it's something like Barnini Chakraborty. And this is also Fox News. When I look at the homeless issue, crisis, problem in San Francisco, I used to live across the bridge in Alameda. It says here, quote, San Francisco Mayor London Breed says it's inhumane to let addicts languish on the streets, but homeless advocates say the measure to force mentally ill drug addicts into housing and treatment for up to a year is extreme and a violation of civil rights. Right, of course they say that. You know why? Because their agenda is to keep the system broken. I've heard terrible shit about fucking San Francisco lately. I have heard terrible shit about Hawaii lately. I have heard terrible shit about LA lately, and I have heard terrible shit about Seattle lately. Guess what? There's a common denominator. There are multiple common denominators and factors. So let me explain what they are. It should be obvious to any rational adult. First of all, they're all on the West Coast, save for Hawaii, which is off the coast. It's not on the mainland, but nonetheless, it's out in the Pacific. So, in the Pacific region, you have these piece of shit governments that are totally mismanaged by these motherfucking dick-sucking liberals. Piece of shit assholes. And what they do is they advocate for these systems to be broken to the detriment of the humans who live there. These people, their system of governance is shit. Anybody who is sensible and forward thinking can see exactly what it is that I am pointing to. These government officials have tools at their disposal. I could easily clean up the streets of fucking San Francisco. Easily. I've worked in logistics. I know how to do it. It's fucking simple. First of all, you arrest the people who are involved in the broken system. They got to be fucking arrested. There has to be a law that permits their arrest. And that's fucking straightforward. They've mismanaged the system. They've abused their power. They've broken the law. So they should be arrested. No double standards. They should go to fucking prison. Because they put people in prison for petty shit as it is. They already put people in prison. So they themselves should go to fucking prison. They should be arrested for violation of the law. Federal government should step in and say, look, man, you're under arrest. You're under arrest. You mismanage your city. You're fucking breaking the law. You're causing a hazardous situation. People who are residents here, first and foremost, people who are tourists. You have people defecating on the streets, vomiting on the streets, shitting, pissing, fucking throwing up on the streets because you have allowed for this. You have caused this. They haven't caused this. You have. They shouldn't be allowed to do this here. But you're enabling these people to do this. You are under fucking arrest. Straight up. Okay? If you want the problem to stop, the first thing you have to do is you have to arrest the people who caused the fucking problem. You have to arrest them. So that they can't keep doing it over and over. Because if you don't arrest them, if you don't remove them from the equation, if you don't step in as the federal government, state government, if you don't step in and say, look, man, hey, Jack, hey, Barb, hey, Steve, hey, Paul, hey, Mike, hey, dick sucking bitch, you are all under arrest. I know you think that there's a way out of it for you, but you're going to go to prison for what you have created. You are going to jail. You are under arrest. You have abused your power. You have mismanaged this system. You're obviously doing this to keep the system broken intentionally, purposefully, deliberately, knowingly, and willfully. You are under motherfucking arrest. Put them in fucking prison and remove them from the equation. Next, once you arrest the so-called officials in Seattle, San Francisco, Hawaii, and Los Angeles, then you move on to step number 2. Step number 2, there's a program in Rhode Island. I saw the documentary on KOMO News, Seattle is Dying. If you Google Seattle is Dying, there's someone who wrote some shit like an opinion piece or some writer that said, Seattle isn't dying yet. Yes, it is. You are fucking wrong. You are absolutely incorrect. Seattle is dying. It has been dying for a long time, and you are in denial of the facts. Yes, It is dying, dying, dying. Seattle is absolutely fucking dying. I know. You want to be the contradiction. You want to be the name that wrote the shit, that changes the narrative, that changes the story so that you put your spin on it and people looking for information about Seattle will be led to believe that Seattle isn't quite dying yet. But it is. Seattle is dying and is almost fucking dead. Now, since Seattle is dying, and in the documentary by Como News, Komo News, in the documentary it's pointed out that there's a Rhode Island program that's efficient. Why do progressive liberals not want that program to exist in Seattle, in LA, in Honolulu, in San Francisco? The reason they don't want that program, which is effective, which works, which the addicts in Rhode Island love that program because it has saved their lives and they want the fucking program. The reason why the bureaucrats in Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Hawaii don't want it is because if they keep the system broken and pretend like they're trying to fix it, they can stay in power. They are the ones that have created the problem. If you arrest them and then institute punishment, if you implement and integrate punishment and you punish these fucking communists, these Marxists, these traitors, these un-Americans, and you punish them and you punish them and you put them in fucking prison, you will solve the problem. They must be arrested. Because again, if you do not arrest them, then the problem will persist. They will continue to exist in the free world, out in the open, and they will continue their propaganda machine, their lies, their deceptions. Oh yeah, we're trying, we throw, just like the Fox article says, we threw hundreds of millions of dollars at the problem, and we've been working proactively, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's been years, and the homeless, issue has increased in San Francisco, according to Fox News, by 17%. I understand, those numbers are mind-staggering and totally Carl Sagan, and in a few years from now, it'll be like District 9, out of the movies, total dystopian society. But, yeah, we totally orchestrated it. I mean, we're totally trying to, fix it. Those people have to be put in fucking prison, man. The U.S. government has to step in and say, you are under arrest. The government must arrest these fucking people, put them in fucking prison, no questions asked. The government needs to arrest these people. I cannot overemphasize the fact that they have to be arrested. This program of mine, Once or Grove's program, it doesn't work unless they're arrested. If they're not arrested, if they're not imprisoned, if they are not prosecuted, they will continue to keep the system broken. You will continue to hear about Seattle is dying, and Seattle will die. You want to talk about an event in history of monumental, unprecedented, epic proportions? Something that's right out of some movie involving the future, like a sci-fi movie that becomes no longer science fiction and becomes fact? Then let me share this with you. Allow me the following. Seattle will die, and it will be dead. And it will cause chaos throughout the world. There will be reverberations, and it will be echoed worldwide, and people will see that Seattle has fallen, and that the government in Seattle no longer functions, and that it no longer works, and it will be a dead zone to the world, and it will be total fucking chaos. The only way to stop that from happening is to arrest the officials who broke the system. Fuck their state government, man. Fuck the state of Washington's government. State of Washington's government is a corrupt government. It's comprised of corrupt pieces of fucking shit who allowed for their system to be broken. Why would they do that? 2 reasons. 1, apathy. Apathy, just being apathetic, being crass, being callous, being reckless, like, oh, well, who gives a shit? Fuck the centralized government in Washington, D.C. Fuck the U.S. federal government. We're Seattle. We can do whatever we want. Separation of powers. Separation of powers. We're a state government. They're a federal government. Okay? That's number one. That's number one. Do they really have the right, though, however, to mismanage their state to the level that it is currently mismanaged? Is that really truly separation of powers, where they have the right to run the government of Washington into the ground to the point where it is now? Do they have the legal right to abuse power? They've become a tyranny themselves. They've become a criminal cabal. Okay, that leads me to number 2. They don't have the right to do what they've done. In terms of the separation of powers, they need to be prosecuted. They need to be fucking arrested. They need to be in prison, and they need to go to prison for a long time. That's the other thing. They need to go to prison for a long time. They need prison sentences of over 50 years. They should be detained indefinitely, because they have 2-strike laws in California where they strike out people who are violent criminals. The system will incarcerate people for petty shit and give motherfuckers hella time in prison. Long ass fucking time on some petty shit. These are people who have mismanaged governments to the point of collapse. To the point of collapse. Someone involved in, say, like the Enron scandal. Someone who's built senior citizens out of billions of dollars in life savings. 40-year prison sentence. 50-year prison sentence. Life in prison. I'm talking about these people are part of a cabal. They are part of a cabal where someone is getting paid. You cannot fucking tell me that someone in Seattle, in the Seattle government, is not profiting from the opioid crisis. Somehow, some way, on the streets, backroom deals, backstairs dealings, underground shit. You cannot fucking tell me someone is not getting paid. That is why, just like out of the movie, like a scene from the movie Boardwalk Empire, during the time of Prohibition, alcohol sales, when alcohol was illegal and it was all underground. I'm talking about the days of Al Capone. You cannot tell me that someone out of the millions of people in the state of Washington, someone in the government is not getting paid by some heroin cartel, dealer, group, organization. Someone in the government of Washington state is getting paid to keep the system fucking broken. That's why the police were told to not arrest people for certain crimes that would otherwise put those criminals behind bars and take them off the streets. The same is true of California, Los Angeles, Hawaii, and San Francisco. People at the government level, in back rooms, in private spaces, behind the scenes, on the streets, they're getting paid by someone. There has to be someone in the government of each one of these states who's getting paid to keep the system fucking broken. Absolutely, 100% certainty. So, what the federal government needs to do is go in and arrest the so-called leadership of those governments and put them in fucking prison and then start the cleanup process. Federal government needs to go in and say, you're under arrest, you're going to fucking federal prison, you're being detained in a federal facility, and throw the book at these un-Americans who have run these states into the ground, these cities in these states into the ground. That's the only way it can happen. If not, those systems will collapse. It's inevitable. Mathematically, it will happen. If you don't believe me, let's look at the numbers. It says in the Fox article that the homeless rate has increased by 17%. Well, it doesn't take rocket science to figure it out. In the world of math, that's over 15%. Just round it off. Make it 20%. That's 1/5. 20%. It's increased by 20%. How unreasonable is it to assume that at some point the number will double? It's not unreasonable. 20% is almost 25%. And then from there, it's 50%. It won't take long for that number to reach a staggering 50%. So once the number reaches, if it were to reach 50%, which again, it's already increased by 17%, not too far off from 50%. If that were to happen, the system would be unsustainable. It's almost unsustainable now as it is. So that means that in just a few years, the system could very well become unsustainable. That's not hard to see. That's crystal clear. In order to prevent that from happening, the individuals who have mismanaged these cities, they must be arrested and imprisoned. They must be imprisoned. They must be arrested and put in long-term detention. They are part of a cabal. They have sought to break the system. They have done so knowingly, willfully, deliberately, and purposefully. The only way to stop it from happening is to arrest them. Once they are arrested and out of the way, then the plan to correct the issue can be further implemented. The Rhode Island program, it works. Seattle needs that program, which is evidenced by the KOMO news documentary, Seattle is Dying. It's right there. It's right out in the open. It works in Rhode Island. Seattle needs it. Hawaii needs it. LA needs it. And San Francisco needs it. The next step, the third step, is to clean up the feces, the urine, the vomit. Companies, contractors, society needs to clean that shit up, literally. But again, can't happen until you get rid of the elected so-called officials. They have to be arrested for what they've done. Because as long as they're there, they will intentionally keep the system broken. Because that's the gambit. That's their stratagem. That's their whole strategy, right in line with the stated goals of communism, 45 of them. Keep the system broken, pretend like they're trying to fix it, and at some point, the system collapses. They must be arrested.